Have you ever wondered how certain actors become the very embodiment of American cinema? For many classic movie fans, James Stewart is that actor. With his warm, everyman charm and an unmistakable drawl, Stewart captivated audiences from the 1930s all the way into the 1970s. Whether playing an idealistic senator, a haunted detective, or a small-town dreamer, he brought a sincerity to the screen that made you believe in the goodness of humanity, even when his characters grappled with darkness or doubt. It's worth noting that off-screen, Stewart was a real-life war hero who served as a bomber pilot during World War II, adding another layer of gravitas to his on-screen presence. Today, we're counting down the top 10 best James Stewart movies, exploring the roles that cemented his status as a beloved Hollywood icon. Ready to discover or revisit some timeless classics? Let's dive right in. To kick things off, we go back to 1940 with The Shop Around the Corner. If you've ever watched You've Got Mail and been charmed by its premise of anonymous pen pals who unwittingly work in close proximity, you've already enjoyed a modern retelling of this story. Stewart plays Alfred Kralik, a mild-mannered sales clerk at a small gift shop in Budapest. Alfred and his co-worker Clara, played by Margaret Sullivan, can't stand each other in person, but they've also been writing to anonymous pen pals, unaware that they're actually corresponding with each other. So, what makes this film stand out as one of Stewart's best? It's the sweet, understated chemistry between Stewart and Sullivan, combined with a nuanced script by director Ernst Lubitsch. You really see Stewart's gift for portraying the awkward, well-intentioned everyman who's just trying to figure out life and love. The Shop Around the Corner might not involve grand stunts or groundbreaking special effects, but it remains a sentimental favorite. It's a gentle reminder that sometimes the greatest human drama unfolds in the simplest, most everyday settings. Have you ever thought about how many rom-com tropes we take for granted today actually trace back to classics like this one? It's a testament to Stewart's timeless appeal and how he could make even the smallest moments resonate with genuine feeling. Next, we jump to the 1940s, The Philadelphia Story, one of the quintessential romantic comedies of Hollywood's golden age. Stewart plays Macaulay Mike Connor, a tabloid reporter sent to cover the society wedding of Tracy Lord, Katharine Hepburn. He teams up with photographer Liz Imbrie, Ruth Hussey, and together they navigate the witty, sometimes chaotic, upper-crust world. Cary Grant also stars as Tracy's ex-husband, creating a star-studded love quadrangle if ever there was one. Stewart won his first and only Oscar, for Best Supporting Actor, for this role, and it's easy to see why. Mike Connor is principled yet exasperated by the social circles he's forced to infiltrate. Stewart nails every beat, from comedic banter to heartfelt confessions, bringing a certain unassuming sincerity that helps keep the film's more flamboyant antics grounded. The crackling dialogue, largely thanks to playwright Philip Barry's original work, remains a masterclass in screwball comedy. Many fans were amazed to discover how well Stewart's comedic timing stood up against legends like Hepburn and Grant. If you enjoy romantic comedies but haven't seen this classic yet, you're in for a treat. It remains a shining example of how a well-written script and a top-tier cast can create cinematic magic. Moving on to number 8, we find ourselves in the rugged territory of The Naked Spur, 1953. Many people who know James Stewart primarily as the gentle idealist might be surprised to see him venture into darker westerns, but The Naked Spur is a fascinating glimpse into just how complex his range could be. Stewart plays Howard Kemp, a bounty hunter obsessively tracking down a wanted criminal in the hopes of collecting a life-changing reward. Unlike the sunny optimism of some of his earlier roles, Stewart's Kemp is consumed by desperation and torn between greed and conscience. The film, directed by Anthony Mann, is considered one of the finest psychological westerns, focusing more on characters' internal struggles than on sweeping gunfights. Did you know that Stewart's collaboration with Anthony Mann redefined his career in the 1950s? It pushed him into morally ambiguous territory, showing a darkness and intensity fans hadn't really seen before. In The Naked Spur, we witness Stewart's gentle voice and sincere manner shift into a troubled man at war with himself, someone you can empathize with and yet mistrust at the same time. The stark mountain landscapes mirror Kemp's isolation, creating a tense atmosphere in which loyalties constantly shift. If you're curious about westerns that go deeper into character psychology, The Naked Spur will grab you from the first scene. At number 7, we stay in the Old West with Winchester 73, 1950, another Anthony Mann collaboration that marked a turning point in Stewart's career. Here, Stewart plays Lynn McAdam, a sharpshooter pursuing a coveted 1-in-1,000 Winchester rifle and a personal vendetta. The storyline unfolds almost like a Greek tragedy, with the rifle changing hands multiple times, leaving behind a trail of violence and dashed hopes. Stewart's portrayal of Lynn McAdam is a study in quiet, simmering intensity. He's not the outspoken moral crusader you might recall from Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Instead, he's a man who keeps his emotions locked behind a stern exterior, only to reveal them in bursts of raw frustration or moral indignation. Many fans credit Winchester 73 as the film that catapulted Stewart into a grittier phase of his career. Director Anthony Mann used the stark desert landscapes to highlight the moral complexities of frontier justice, giving Stewart a brand new playground to display his evolving acting chops. Winchester 73 ushered in a wave of westerns that combined moral quandaries with white-knuckle showdowns, and Stewart's performance remains a testament to his versatility. If your perception of Stewart begins and ends with a friendly handshake and an aw shucks grin, this film will expand your understanding in the most exhilarating way. If courtroom dramas are more your style, then our number 6 pick, Anatomy of a Murder, 1959, is a must-watch. Directed by Otto Preminger, the film stars Stewart as Paul Beegler, a small-town lawyer tasked with defending an Army lieutenant who admits to killing a man accused of assaulting his wife. This is no open-and-shut case. Instead, we get a gripping exploration of moral ambiguity, legal maneuvering, and the unpredictable nature of jury trials. Stewart's performance stands out for its strategic brilliance. He's not playing a naive idealist here. Instead, Paul Beegler is shrewd, somewhat weary, yet still anchored by a sense of justice, though not necessarily the kind of black-and-white justice you might expect from older courtroom dramas. Did you know that Anatomy of a Murder was groundbreaking for its frank discussion of sexual violence and psychological motivations at a time when censorship guidelines were still extremely restrictive? Stewart navigates these complex themes with a level of nuance that keeps you guessing about his character's true convictions. Critics applauded the film's realism, especially in its courtroom scenes, which often feel more documentary-like than theatrical. For fans who enjoy unorthodox legal dramas that question the very nature of guilt and innocence, this movie remains a fascinating watch. It proved yet again that Stewart could step into morally gray territory without losing the empathy he naturally evokes in audiences. Now it's time for a beloved classic, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939. Have you ever felt that spark of righteous indignation when you see injustice? That's exactly what this film channels as Stewart's Jefferson Smith, an everyman appointed to the U.S. Senate, heads to Washington, D.C., and collides head-on with corruption. Directed by Frank Capra, the film is often celebrated as one of the greatest examples of the courageous individual versus systemic wrongdoing trope. Stewart's performance as Mr. Smith is all about earnestness and determination. The iconic filibuster scene, where he stands for hours on the Senate floor, sums up everything the character stands for: unwavering moral clarity in the face of overwhelming cynicism. It's a role that resonates with anyone who's ever felt powerless but continued to fight for what's right anyway. Many fans see this performance as the ultimate representation of Stewart's signature persona, the pure-hearted underdog with a backbone of steel. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington remains startlingly relevant, especially for modern audiences who find themselves questioning political institutions and power structures. It's a reminder that sometimes one voice, no matter how small it seems, can shake the walls of injustice. If you're looking for a film to renew your faith in democracy, or simply to witness a masterful performance of sincerity, this is it. Our number 4 pick takes us back to the Old West, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962. Directed by John Ford, this Western drama pairs Stewart with John Wayne, weaving a complex tale about the power of storytelling in shaping historical memory. Stewart plays Ransom Rancy Stoddard, an educated lawyer determined to bring law and order to a frontier town terrorized by the outlaw Liberty Valance, Lee Marvin. What sets this film apart from standard Western fare is how it grapples with the distinction between truth and legend. Stewart's character believes in the pen over the sword, while Wayne's Tom Doniphan lives by the rugged code of frontier justice. Their clashing philosophies test the boundary between civilized law and raw violence. Many fans were amazed to discover Stewart's performance here is less about boyish optimism and more about quiet resolve. He's a man stepping up to confront a savage environment without stooping to its level. Though the film is often overshadowed by Wayne's iconic presence, Stewart's portrayal drives the moral center of the story. As the narrative unfolds, viewers are forced to question how myths are born and whether society needs those myths more than it needs the messy truths beneath them. Ever find yourself intrigued by how history is written, and by whom? The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is the perfect Western to feed that curiosity, and it features Stewart in one of his most contemplative roles. Stepping into the top 3, we come to Rear Window, 1954, a tense thriller directed by none other than Alfred Hitchcock. Stewart stars as L.B. Jeffries, a photographer confined to his apartment with a broken leg, who passes the time by spying on his neighbors through his rear window. Have you ever felt the temptation to peek into someone else's life? This film explores the boundaries between observation and intrusion, how easy it is to become entangled in secrets not meant for you. Jeff's curiosity turns into obsession when he suspects a neighbor of committing murder. Stewart's performance is a masterclass in claustrophobic suspense, as he becomes both the detective and the audience surrogate. Can you imagine feeling so powerless? You can see what you think is evidence of a crime, but you can't move off your balcony to act on it? Stewart's anxious energy and moral dilemma make Rear Window an absolute nail-biter. His chemistry with Grace Kelly, who plays his stylish socialite girlfriend, adds a splash of romance and glamour, contrasting the film's darker themes of isolation and voyeurism. Critics and audiences alike praised Stewart's ability to communicate vulnerability without losing that core streak of decency. If you love thrillers that are more about psychological tension than high-speed chases, Rear Window is a must, an enduring testament to Hitchcock's genius and Stewart's ability to anchor even the most suspenseful plots in genuine humanity. Our runner-up is Vertigo, 1958, another Alfred Hitchcock masterpiece, but one that delves far deeper into obsession, identity, and the darker corners of the human psyche. Stewart plays John Scotty Ferguson, an ex-police detective forced into early retirement due to a crippling fear of heights. When an old acquaintance asks him to follow his supposedly possessed wife, Scotty tumbles down a rabbit hole of illusion, love, and psychological torment. Watching Stewart unravel as Scotty is a disquieting experience. Gone is the wholesome champion of virtue. Instead, we see a man so haunted by his limitations and desires that he loses all sense of moral direction. Hitchcock's dreamlike visuals and dizzying camera work intensify this feeling of instability. Did you know that Vertigo was initially met with mixed reviews, only to later be celebrated as one of the greatest films ever made? Today, it frequently tops best of lists, partly because of Stewart's haunting performance, which many argue was a shocking departure from his typical roles. Have you ever questioned whether love can cross ethical lines, or how an individual's obsession can warp reality? Vertigo forces you to confront those questions head-on. Stewart's portrayal is a revelation. He balances sympathy and repulsion so skillfully that you're left equally fascinated and disturbed. If you're used to seeing him as a straightforward hero, Vertigo will show you just how far he could stretch beyond that comfort zone. It's a triumph of acting, direction, and psychological nuance. Finally, topping our list at number 1 is the quintessential holiday classic, It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. Stewart's portrayal of George Bailey has become an enduring symbol of hope, compassion, and the priceless value of a single life. Have you ever felt like the burdens of the world are on your shoulders and wondered if it would matter if you suddenly disappeared? That's exactly where George Bailey finds himself, bankrupt, disillusioned, and standing on a bridge one snowy Christmas Eve, contemplating suicide. In that darkest moment, George is given an extraordinary gift, a glimpse of what the world would be like if he had never been born. The film's genius is in how it takes one man's seemingly ordinary existence and demonstrates its monumental impact on his family, friends, and entire community. Stewart's performance is heart-rendingly genuine. From his youthful aspirations of traveling the world to the crushing responsibilities that keep him tethered to his small hometown, you can see every hope, disappointment, and moral victory etched across his face. Directed by Frank Capra, It's a Wonderful Life wasn't an immediate smash hit upon its release, but it has grown into a timeless, endearing masterpiece. Fans across generations consider it essential holiday viewing, though its themes of gratitude, second chances, and mutual support resonate all year round. Stewart himself regarded George Bailey as one of his favorite roles, and it's not hard to see why. The film has become a cultural touchstone, frequently parodied, referenced, and celebrated, yet it never loses its heartfelt authenticity. If you ever need a reminder of your own worth and the beauty that can unfold when a community supports its own, this film is a cinematic lifeline. What unites these 10 James Stewart movies, aside from one remarkable actor, is the sense of timeless humanity at their core. Whether he's fighting against political corruption as Mr. Smith, wrestling with guilt and obsession in Vertigo, or discovering his own worth in It's a Wonderful Life, Stewart's characters speak to us across generations. He excelled in westerns that asked hard questions about law and morality, in romantic comedies that balanced charm with genuine emotional depth, and in thrillers that pushed the boundaries of psychological drama. The magic of James Stewart lies in his ability to convey both vulnerability and resolute decency, even when the story plunges into gray areas or deep despair. You believe him every time because he drew from something deeply authentic within himself, connecting with audiences in a way few actors ever have. Stewart's legacy isn't confined to one genre. He's as much at home in a classic Christmas tale as he is in a Hitchcock psychological labyrinth or a dusty frontier shootout. His impact on cinema is vast, influencing countless performers and directors who strive to capture the same warmth, nuance, and complexity he brought to every role. Even decades after these films were made, they remain staples for film lovers around the world. Proof that sincerity and emotional truth never go out of style in storytelling. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through James Stewart's top 10 best films. Which of these iconic performances is your personal favorite, and are there any other James Stewart gems you think should have made the cut? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this countdown, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging movie countdowns, in-depth film discussions, and classic Hollywood spotlights. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll explore even more cinematic treasures.